Lower creatinine fast with these 5 kidney-safe nuts. Have you ever felt tired for no clear reason, noticed a little puffiness around your ankles, or been told your creatinine is higher than it should be and just felt completely lost about what to do next? You are not alone. Millions of people are walking around right now with kidneys that are silently under pressure, and most of them have no idea that something as simple as the right handful of nuts could actually help. Today, I am going to walk you through 5 kidney-safe nuts that may help bring that creatinine level down, naturally, one small step at a time. So now that you know what we are covering today, let's start with the nut that honestly surprised a lot of people when kidney specialists first began talking about it, macadamia nuts. Now, before we get into why macadamia nuts are so good for your kidneys, it helps to understand something first. Most nuts, as healthy as they are in general, come loaded with phosphorus and potassium. Those 2 minerals are not a problem for most people, but when your kidneys are already under pressure and struggling to filter properly, having too much of either one can make things harder for them. It is like asking someone who is already exhausted to carry an even heavier load. The kidneys simply cannot keep up, and that shows up in your creatinine numbers. This is exactly where macadamia nuts stand apart from almost everything else in the nut aisle. Compared to most other nuts, macadamia nuts contain significantly lower levels of both phosphorus and potassium. That means your kidneys do not have to work as hard to process them. And when the kidneys get a little breathing room, the body has a better chance of bringing those creatinine levels down over time. It is a gentle shift, but it is a meaningful one. On top of that, macadamia nuts are rich in healthy fats, the kind that help reduce inflammation quietly in the background. Inflammation is one of the hidden reasons kidney function can decline, so anything that naturally calms that process down is genuinely useful. Now, how do you actually use them? This is where it stays simple. A small handful, roughly 6 to 10 nuts per day, is a perfectly reasonable amount for most adults. You can eat them as a mid-morning snack, mix them into porridge or yogurt, or just keep a small portion with you during the day when hunger strikes. The key is consistency, not quantity. A small amount eaten regularly will always do more good than a large amount eaten once. Over a few weeks of making this swap, many people report feeling less bloated, noticing slightly more energy, and in some cases seeing an improvement when they get their next blood test. Small changes, but they add up. Before we go any further into these 5 nuts, I want to ask you something personal. Have you recently been told your creatinine is higher than it should be, and you are trying to figure out what you can actually do about it naturally? Because if that is why you are here, I want you to know this channel exists specifically for you. If you are watching this and you are serious about supporting your kidneys through real, everyday food choices, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell right now, because we put out content every week that could genuinely make a difference to your numbers and your quality of life. And while you are here, drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from and how long you have been dealing with raised creatinine. I read every single comment, and your story helps me create content that actually speaks to what you are going through. Next, let's talk about a nut that is often overlooked but quietly punches well above its weight when it comes to kidney support. That overlooked nut is the pecan. And once you understand what it brings to the table, you will likely start seeing it very differently the next time you walk past it in the shop. Pecans are naturally low in sodium, which matters more than most people realize when kidney health is the focus. Sodium is one of the biggest hidden stressors on the kidneys. It forces them to work overtime, trying to maintain the right fluid balance in the body. When that balance is off, it can drive up blood pressure, cause fluid retention, and put consistent pressure on kidney tissue over time. Choosing foods that are naturally low in sodium is one of the simplest and most effective things you can do to ease that burden. What makes pecans particularly interesting is their antioxidant content. The body constantly produces waste at a cellular level, and the kidneys are responsible for filtering much of it out. When oxidative stress builds up, meaning there is more waste than the body can comfortably clear, it accelerates kidney strain. Pecans contain natural compounds that help the body manage that process more efficiently. Think of it as giving your internal filtration system a little extra support without doing anything dramatic. They are also a good source of healthy fats and fiber, which helps keep blood sugar levels steadier throughout the day. This connection matters because unstable blood sugar is one of the leading contributors to kidney stress over time, even in people who do not consider themselves diabetic. A steadier internal environment means the kidneys are not constantly reacting and compensating. Now, here is something worth paying close attention to. Not all pecans are created equal. Many of the versions sold as snacks come coated in salt, sugar, or both. Those versions work against everything we are talking about here. What you want are raw or dry roasted unsalted pecans, as natural as possible, with nothing added. Reading the label takes 10 seconds and makes a genuine difference. A small portion of around 15 to 20 pecans per day is a comfortable and realistic amount. Add them to a salad, stir them into oatmeal, or simply enjoy them as an afternoon snack instead of reaching for something processed. Coming up next is a nut that many people already have at home, one that works in a slightly different but equally powerful way for your kidneys. So you likely already have this next one sitting in your kitchen cupboard, and if you do, that is genuinely good news for your kidneys. Walnuts are one of those foods that have been talked about for years in general health conversations, but their specific connection to kidney health does not get nearly enough attention. And that connection comes down to one word that gets thrown around a lot, but is rarely explained clearly: inflammation. Here is what that actually means in plain terms. When the body is under stress, whether from poor diet, lack of sleep, or simply the wear of daily life, it produces an internal response that causes tissues to become irritated and swollen at a microscopic level. The kidneys are not immune to this. Chronic low-level inflammation quietly damages kidney tissue over time, reduces their ability to filter waste effectively, and contributes directly to rising creatinine levels. Most people have no idea this is happening because there is no obvious pain or visible sign. It just slowly builds in the background. Walnuts contain a natural compound called omega-3 fatty acids, which work to calm that internal inflammation down. Unlike anti-inflammatory medications that come with a list of side effects, walnuts do this gently and gradually through regular daily use. They also support healthier blood vessels, and since the kidneys rely heavily on good circulation to function properly, that benefit reaches further than most people expect. There is also evidence that walnuts support a healthier balance of gut bacteria. This might sound unrelated to kidney health, but the gut and kidneys communicate more closely than most people realize. A healthier gut means less toxic waste circulating in the bloodstream, which directly reduces the filtering load on the kidneys. For practical use, 5 to 7 whole walnuts per day is a sensible and sustainable amount. You do not need more than that to feel the benefit. Eat them in the morning with breakfast, crush them over a bowl of oatmeal, or keep a small portion nearby as an easy afternoon snack. As with the previous nuts, unsalted and as natural as possible is always the better choice. The next nut on the list is one that often causes confusion in kidney health conversations, so it is worth taking a moment to clear that up properly. If what you are learning here today is giving you clarity and confidence about your kidney health, I would really appreciate it if you took just a moment to hit the like button before we finish. I know it feels like a small thing, but it genuinely is not. That one click tells the platform that this information is valuable, and it helps this video reach someone else out there who is sitting at home feeling worried and confused about their creatinine levels, not knowing that something as simple and accessible as a handful of the right nuts could actually help them. Your like could be the reason that person finds the answer they have been searching for. That matters more than you might think. That confusion around almonds is something worth addressing head-on because it stops a lot of people from enjoying a nut that can genuinely support their kidney health when approached the right way. If you have done any reading about kidneys and diet, you have probably come across warnings about almonds. And those warnings are not completely without reason. Almonds do contain higher levels of phosphorus and oxalates compared to the nuts we have already covered. For someone with severely reduced kidney function, eating large quantities regularly could add unnecessary pressure. That part is true and worth knowing. But here is where the conversation usually goes wrong. People hear that almonds can be problematic in excess and immediately assume they need to avoid them entirely. That is an overcorrection, and it ends up cutting out a food that, in sensible amounts, actually offers real benefits for kidney health. Almonds are rich in magnesium, a mineral that plays a quiet but important role in keeping blood pressure stable. Since high blood pressure is one of the most common causes of kidney strain, anything that helps keep those numbers in a healthy range is working in your favor. Almonds also provide vitamin E, which supports the body's natural ability to manage oxidative stress, the same internal waste buildup we talked about earlier in connection with pecans. The key with almonds is portion awareness rather than avoidance. Around 10 to 12 almonds per day is a comfortable amount that allows you to benefit from what they offer without overloading the kidneys. That is roughly a small palmful, nothing excessive, nothing restrictive, just a measured and mindful approach. Choosing raw or dry roasted unsalted almonds, as with everything else on this list, is the smarter option. Flavored varieties often carry hidden sodium or sugar that quietly undoes the benefit. Keeping it simple is always the better path. It also helps to spread your nut intake across the day rather than eating all 5 varieties in one sitting. Your kidneys process things steadily, and giving them a consistent, gentle input works far better than overwhelming them all at once. The fifth and final nut coming up is one that brings everything together in a satisfying and practical way, and it might just become your favorite addition to the daily routine. After everything we have covered so far, this final nut brings the list together in a way that feels both practical and genuinely satisfying. And that is not something you often get to say about a food that is also good for you. Cashews tend to get left out of kidney health conversations, often because they sit in a slightly gray area nutritionally. They contain moderate levels of phosphorus, which, as we touched on earlier, is something people with kidney concerns are often told to watch. But moderate does not mean problematic, and when cashews are eaten in reasonable amounts, that phosphorus level is well within a range that most adults with mildly elevated creatinine can comfortably manage. What cashews bring to the table that makes them genuinely worth including is their ability to satisfy hunger in a deep and lasting way. That creamy texture and mild flavor makes them one of the most enjoyable nuts to eat, and enjoyment matters more than people give it credit for when it comes to building lasting habits. If healthy eating feels like a punishment, it does not last. If it feels natural and pleasant, it becomes part of daily life without effort. This matters for kidney health in a very specific way. One of the biggest hidden threats to creatinine levels is the regular consumption of heavily processed and salty snacks. Crisps, crackers, packaged savory foods, these items carry high sodium loads that consistently stress the kidneys over time. When cashews become your go-to snack instead, you are not just adding something beneficial. You are also quietly removing something harmful. That double benefit is more powerful than it sounds. Cashews also provide iron and zinc, 2 nutrients that support overall cellular health and help the body maintain energy levels. When kidney function is compromised, fatigue is one of the most common complaints. Supporting the body with nutrient-dense whole foods, rather than processed alternatives, gives it better tools to cope and recover. A portion of 10 to 15 unsalted cashews per day is the right range to aim for. Raw or lightly roasted with no added salt or flavoring, kept simple and consistent. And that brings us to the full picture. 5 nuts, each with their own strengths, each playing a different role. Now let us talk about how they all fit together into something that actually works in real daily life. So there you have it, 5 nuts, each one chosen for a specific reason, each one bringing something different and valuable to the table when it comes to supporting your kidneys and helping bring those creatinine levels down naturally. Let us bring it all together quickly. Macadamia nuts ease the mineral load on your kidneys and give them breathing room to function better. Pecans work quietly in the background to reduce oxidative stress and support your body's natural waste management. Walnuts tackle the hidden inflammation that most people never even knew was contributing to their kidney strain. Almonds, in the right amount, help keep blood pressure steady and support the body's internal defense against cellular damage. And cashews satisfy hunger in a genuine and lasting way while helping you move away from the processed, salty snacks that have been quietly working against your kidneys all along. None of this requires a dramatic change to your daily life. There is no strict diet plan here, no expensive supplements, and no complicated routine to follow. What we are talking about is swapping out a handful of the wrong things and replacing them with a handful of the right things. That is something anyone can do starting from today. It is also worth saying this clearly because it matters. Your creatinine levels did not rise overnight, and they will not come down overnight either. The body does not work that way, and that is completely normal. What the body does respond to, consistently and reliably, is being supported with the right inputs over time. Small, steady improvements in what you eat create a gentler internal environment, and that is exactly the kind of environment where kidney function can begin to recover and stabilize. Be patient with yourself. Be consistent, and trust that every small decision you make in the right direction is doing something meaningful, even when you cannot feel it yet. If this video has helped you see your kidney health in a clearer and more hopeful way, please save it so you can come back to it. Share it with someone who needs this information and has not found it yet. And if you have not already subscribed to the channel, do that now and turn on notifications, because there is so much more practical kidney health guidance coming that you will not want to miss. Your kidneys are worth looking after, and you are already taking the right steps by being here.